The billionaire hurried into his home without warning on Christmas Day. His coat was still hanging on his shoulders when the front door clicked closed behind him. He moved 2 steps ahead. Then all at once, someone dashed at him. A palm pressed tightly over his lips. His breathing froze. His body crashed backward into the shadows. "Don't make a sound," a woman murmured, trembling. "Please," it was Vanessa, his black housekeeper. She pulled him into a narrow supply closet and pushed the door almost closed, leaving only a thin slit. Her finger pushed firmly against his lips. Nathaniel could hear his own heartbeat thundering in his ears. Footsteps crossed the marble floor. Slow, careless, close. Through the crack, Nathaniel saw his wife step into view, then his younger brother. They stood inches apart, laughing quietly, comfortable, like nothing in the world was wrong. "He should be gone by now," his brother said. His wife sighed, annoyed. "I doubled the dose in his green juice this morning." Nathaniel's legs almost buckled. The dizziness, the weakness, the illness he had ignored, everything made sense in that moment. Christmas was not a surprise. It was the final day. Vanessa tightened her grip on his wrist, her eyes fixed on his, filled with fear and certainty. "If you walk out there," she whispered, "you won't make it to tonight." And just like that, Nathaniel realized the most dangerous place in the world was his own home. And the only person trying to save him was the woman he barely noticed. Christmas Day in Houston, Texas, was supposed to be simple for Nathaniel Bennett. He wanted one peaceful hour at home before the calls began again. So he left his office earlier than usual, drove straight to the mansion, and informed no one. No call, no text, no warning. He wanted to surprise his wife, Madison, and show her he could still do ordinary things. The gate slid open quietly, the garden lights glowing softly, the tree lights shining through the windows as well, but the house felt strangely silent. Nathaniel picked up a small gift bag from the passenger seat and walked quickly toward the front door. As he climbed the steps, he imagined Madison grinning, maybe joking with him for coming home unexpectedly. For a moment, he even pictured them sitting beside the tree like they used to before his business empire consumed all of his time. He unlocked the door and stepped inside. The scent was wrong. Not food, not candles. It was a sharp, sterile smell mixed with something bitter, like medicine that had spilled and dried. Nathaniel paused, listening carefully. The house felt too still. The ticking of a wall clock echoed faintly from the hallway. No holiday music. No laughter. No clatter from the kitchen. He slowly removed one glove and slid it into his coat pocket. He took 2 steps into the hall. Someone ran at him from the side. A hand clamped over his mouth tight. A second hand grabbed his wrist and yanked him back into the dark. The gift bag dropped. Nathaniel tried to shout, but his voice died under the palm. "Sir, please," a woman whispered, shaking. "Do not make a sound." Nathaniel recognized the voice. Vanessa, his black housekeeper. She pulled him into a narrow storage closet near the kitchen and pulled the door almost shut, not locked, just barely open, a thin crack to see through. Vanessa lifted one finger, a warning. Then she held her breath like she was listening to the walls. Footsteps moved across the marble floor outside, slow and calm. Not a stranger, someone who belonged. Vanessa leaned close. "If they hear you," she whispered, "you will not leave this house." Nathaniel forced himself to breathe quietly through his nose. His chest rose and fell slowly as he steadied himself against the shelves stacked with cleaning supplies and unused boxes. He leaned toward the crack. He saw the living room and the Christmas tree. Perfect gifts, perfect lights. And right beside the tree stood Madison, dressed like she was going somewhere, not like she was relaxing at home. She held a glass of green juice. Across from her stood Nathaniel's younger brother, Dylan, smiling like he had no worries. Madison laughed softly and touched Dylan's arm. Nathaniel's hands went numb. Dylan spoke first. "He is still standing," he said. "How is he still standing?" Madison's voice stayed calm. "I doubled the dose," she replied. This morning in his green juice, Dylan let out a small laugh. "And he still went to work." Madison's face tightened. "Then tonight we'll fix it." The word struck Nathaniel like a violent slap. Every dizzy spell, every weak morning, the times he had to sit down in his office and pretend he was fine. He had blamed exhausting hours. He had blamed getting older. He had blamed everything except this. His own wife, his own brother. Vanessa's fingers wrapped around his wrists steady and firm. She was telling him, "Stay quiet. Stay alive. Madison turned toward the kitchen. Nathaniel pulled deeper into the closet as her heels tapped closer, then stopped. A drawer slid open. Metal clinked softly. A spoon moved inside glass. Madison spoke again. Lower now. Vanessa has been watching me. Dylan answered sharply. Then get rid of her, Madison sighed. After tonight, Vanessa did not blink. Her face showed pain for 1 second, then control, like she had already decided what she would do. Madison walked away. The footsteps faded. Nathaniel leaned against the shelf, trying to keep his legs steady. Vanessa remained still, listening until the house fell silent again. Then she eased the door open and signaled. They slipped into the back hallway, the one staff used. Nathaniel's throat was dry. Vanessa, he whispered. Why are you doing this? She did not waste time. Because they are killing you, she said. And because I saw it. Nathaniel shook his head like that could erase what he heard. I need proof, he said. I need to face them. Vanessa grabbed his sleeve and held him back. Not here, she said. Not today. This is my home, Nathaniel whispered. Vanessa's voice softened, but it stayed strong. It is their trap, she said. This house is the fastest place for you to die. A door closed upstairs. Both of them froze. Nathaniel held his breath, every muscle tight. The faint creak of the floor above echoed through the hallway like thunder. For a moment, neither of them moved. Vanessa slowly pulled him toward the side exit. They passed the kitchen counter. The green juice sat there ready with a small ribbon beside it like a Christmas joke. Nathaniel stared at the glass, remembering the bitter taste he had forced down that morning before leaving for work. His stomach twisted. Nathaniel's hand moved toward his pocket for his phone. Vanessa caught it. No calls, she said. I can call security, Nathaniel whispered. I can call the police. Vanessa shook her head. Your friends can be bought, she said. One call, and they know where you are. Nathaniel stared at her. How do you know? Vanessa swallowed. I heard names, she said. I saw men come when you were gone. And Madison asked me about my family, like she wanted to know who would miss me. Nathaniel felt sick. Vanessa reached into her apron pocket and showed him a tiny plastic bag folded tight. Inside was pale powder. I took this from the trash last week, she said. Madison said it was vitamins, but I watched her hide it and I watched her measure it. I kept it because my gut told me something was wrong. Nathaniel stared at the bag like it could burn him. We can test it, he whispered. Vanessa nodded once. Yes, but not with anyone we do not trust, she said. Not yet. Right now. Vanessa opened the side door. Warm air rushed in thick and wet. She pointed to her old sedan by the fence. Get in, she said. Now. Nathaniel hesitated and looked back at the bright tree in the living room, at the life he thought was real. For a brief second, he remembered Christmas mornings years ago, Madison laughing beside the fireplace, Dylan opening gifts, the house full of music and friends. That memory felt like it belonged to another man. Then Madison's voice floated down the hall, sweet and sharp. Nathaniel, are you home? Vanessa's face went still. She pushed him toward the car, and Nathaniel understood that the next sound he made might be his last. Nathaniel slid into Vanessa's old sedan and pulled the door shut without a sound. Vanessa started the engine and backed out fast, steady, like she had done this before. In the mirror, Nathaniel saw the mansion. Hallway light turn on. A shadow crossed the glass. Madison Nathaniel dropped low in the seat. Vanessa drove behind the hedges, took the service road, and reached the gate. The sensor beeped. Once, the gate opened. No guards appeared. No one stopped them. They pulled out onto the road, and the gate slid shut as if nothing unusual had happened. Nathaniel tried to take a deep breath, but his chest felt tight and heavy. His thoughts kept repeating. Madison's voice in his head, calm and annoyed, as if she had been discussing laundry instead of his life. He reached for his phone. I need to call security, he whispered. Or the police. Vanessa grabbed his wrist quickly. No calls, she said. Vanessa, they are poisoning me. I know, she replied quietly. That is exactly why you cannot call. Phones can be located. Watches can be tracked. Vehicles can be followed. Your wife has access to your company systems. Your brother has enough money to purchase people's loyalty. One call will tell them where you are. Nathaniel stared at her. The word purchase twisted his stomach. He had relied on wealth his entire life, but he had never imagined money being used to wipe him out. I have a friend, Nathaniel said. Detective Carter Hayes. He will help. Vanessa slowly shook her head. I heard that name inside your house, she said. I heard it when your brother was talking. I do not trust him. Nathaniel wanted to argue, but another wave of sickness rushed through his body. He bent forward slightly, breathing slowly, feeling weak, angry, and embarrassed at the same time. He was a man who approved billion-dollar agreements, yet he could not even keep his own body steady. Vanessa guided the car through Houston streets decorated for Christmas. Colorful lights hung across houses and storefronts. Traffic moved slowly. People walked along sidewalks carrying shopping bags while families laughed near bright displays. Nathaniel watched from the seat, like a stranger staring through glass. The world continued normally while his own life had just fallen apart. He felt separated from ordinary life, like he had already disappeared from it. Vanessa turned into a scrapyard lot and stopped beside a container filled with broken machinery. Rusted metal and damaged vehicles were stacked in tall piles. The air smelled like oil, dust, and rain. A worker nearby glanced in their direction, then quickly returned to his work. What are we doing here? Nathaniel asked. Vanessa stretched out her hand. Your phone, she said. Your watch. Nathaniel hesitated. His watch had been a gift from his father years earlier. His phone held everything: bank access, contacts, passwords, private codes. Handing them over felt like surrendering his identity. Vanessa did not rush him. She simply stood there waiting. Nathaniel slowly removed the watch from his wrist and placed it into her palm. Then he handed over the phone. Vanessa lowered the window and tossed both objects into the metal container. They landed with a loud metallic crash. Nathaniel flinched slightly. That was my life. Vanessa remained calm. That was their roadmap, she said. Now your signal ends here. If they track you, the trail stops in this scrapyard. That gives us time. Time was the only thing Nathaniel needed. Vanessa drove again and entered a part of Houston Nathaniel had never visited before. Small houses stood close together. The sidewalks were cracked. Puddles reflected dim streetlights. Dogs barked behind fences while children rode bicycles along the road. Several people looked at the car for a moment, then returned to what they were doing. Vanessa parked behind her home in a tight alley and pointed toward the back entrance. Head down, she said. Stay close. Nathaniel followed her inside. The house was small but tidy. The air smelled like soap and cooked food. A tiny plastic Christmas tree sat on the table. No presents. A single red ribbon hung on the wall like someone was trying to keep a little hope alive with almost nothing. Vanessa locked the door, then checked the lock again. She closed the curtains carefully. Sit, she said. Nathaniel lowered himself onto the couch, and the moment he did, his body finally collapsed from exhaustion. Heat rushed through him. Sweat soaked his shirt. The room tilted slightly around him. I'm fine, he tried to say. Vanessa placed her hand on his forehead and quickly pulled it away. You are burning, she said. She brought a bowl of water and a cloth, gently wiping his face. Her movements were quick but careful. Nathaniel stared at her hands and felt a sharp pain in his chest, not from the illness, but from guilt. Those hands had cleaned his house, washed his dishes, prepared his bed, and he had barely learned her name. Why are you helping me? He whispered. Vanessa did not look away. Because I witnessed what they were doing, she said, and because I understand what it feels like to have no power. She paused briefly, then spoke more quietly. My brother died because someone took shortcuts with medicine. People said it was bad luck. It wasn't. It was greed. She drew in a slow breath before continuing. Since that day I watch. I listen. And when something seems wrong, I keep it. Nathaniel remembered the tiny bag of powder Vanessa had shown him earlier. He believed her, but he also believed something even darker, that Madison had been planning this for a very long time. He tried to push himself upright. His body protested, but he forced the words out. We need evidence, he said. We have to expose them. We will, Vanessa replied calmly. But first you survive. A sudden knock struck the front door. Nathaniel froze instantly. Vanessa lifted one finger, signaling for silence. Then she crept toward the curtain and lifted one corner slightly. A car sat parked across the street with its engine running. The driver remained inside. He did not step out. Vanessa lowered the curtain slowly. I don't know who that is, she whispered. The knock sounded again, louder this time, almost like a warning. A woman's voice floated through the door, far too cheerful for the late hour. Vanessa, you home? I saw a strange car. The voice stopped suddenly, as if listening. Nathaniel held his breath. Vanessa's jaw tightened. If it was a neighbor, that was dangerous because curiosity traveled fast. If it was a trap, opening the door could destroy everything. Vanessa turned toward Nathaniel, her voice low but firm. "Stay here," she said. "If I tell you to run, you go out the back." Nathaniel nodded slowly. His mouth felt dry. He had never been this close to losing everything. Not money, not power, but his life itself. Vanessa took one careful step toward the door. The knock came again. "Vanessa," the woman called, "open up. I saw a strange car." Vanessa raised one finger toward Nathaniel, then walked to the door as if this were an ordinary Christmas visit. She opened it just slightly, leaving the chain locked in place. Mrs. Whitman stood on the porch wearing a bright red sweater, holding a plate covered with foil. Her smile seemed friendly, but her eyes kept moving. Toward the driveway, toward the street, then back to Vanessa's face. "I was worried," Mrs. Whitman said. "You came in late, and now there's a car I don't recognize." Vanessa kept her tone steady. "It's my cousin," she said. "He dropped me off and then drove away." Mrs. Whitman lifted the plate slightly. "I cooked extra food," she said. "Thought I'd bring you some." "Thank you," Vanessa replied, taking it. But Mrs. Whitman did not leave. She leaned forward slightly, trying to look past Vanessa's shoulder. Vanessa shifted her body just enough to block the view. Smooth and subtle. "You look exhausted," Mrs. Whitman said. "Everything okay?" Vanessa nodded once. "Just a long week." Mrs. Whitman tilted her chin toward the street. "That car across the way has been sitting there," she said. "That's not normal. I don't want trouble near my house." Vanessa's grip tightened slightly on the plate. "I understand," she said. "If I notice anything unusual, I'll call." Mrs. Whitman studied her carefully for a long moment. "If you're hiding something," she said softly, "I won't cover for it." Vanessa held her gaze steadily. "I'm not hiding trouble," she said. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas," Mrs. Whitman answered before turning and walking away. Vanessa closed the door, locked it, then leaned her forehead against the wood. For a moment, her shoulders shook slightly. Nathaniel sat on the couch with his hood pulled over his head. His skull ached. His stomach churned, as if his body was still fighting whatever Madison had slipped into his drink. "I'm sorry," Nathaniel whispered. Vanessa looked at him. "Don't be sorry," she said. "Be quiet and be ready." Nathaniel swallowed slowly. "I heard my wife say she would finish me tonight," he said. "On Christmas." Vanessa's face softened for a moment, then hardened again. "People can smile and still carry evil," she said. "That's why we move carefully." Nathaniel rubbed his hands together. "I paid for guards," he said quietly, "and the danger was sitting at my own table." "You trusted them," Vanessa replied. "That's not a crime." Outside, the car across the street suddenly went silent. The engine shut off. A door closed. Vanessa moved to the curtain and lifted a small corner again. A man stood near the sidewalk, his head lowered beneath a cap. He did not appear lost. He looked patient. Nathaniel tried to stand, but dropped back down when the room spun. Vanessa placed her hand on his shoulder. "Stay," she whispered. The man walked slowly toward Vanessa's porch. The doorknob turned gently and carefully, like testing. Vanessa's mouth tightened. She picked up a kitchen knife, not to fight, but because her hands needed something solid. She stood behind the door and waited. A voice pressed through the wood, low and confident. "Vanessa." Nathaniel's chest froze, as if ice had flooded through his veins. "Detective Carter Hayes," he whispered. Vanessa glanced back at him, eyes sharp and unwavering. Detective Hayes rapped once on the door, gentle but deliberate. "Vanessa," he said, "open up. I'm here to help." Vanessa did not move. Detective Hayes tried again, softer this time. "Nathaniel, I know you're inside. Your wife says you're unwell. Let me take you to the hospital." Nathaniel caught the trap in the words, "Wife first, help second." He looked at Vanessa. "What if he's real?" he murmured. Vanessa leaned close. "If he were real," she whispered, "he would not come alone, and he would not speak like your wife owns you." Detective Hayes sighed, patience thinning. "Last chance," he said. "If you don't open the door, I'll force it. I don't want to arrest you, Vanessa." Vanessa's face went still, eerily calm. She pointed toward the back door. "Move," she breathed. Nathaniel pushed himself upright. His legs trembled violently. Vanessa grabbed his elbow steadying him. They moved through the narrow kitchen, slipped out the back, and ducked into the alley. Vanessa led him between fences and bins, pausing briefly to listen. Each shadow and distant sound made them tense. She pulled him forward again. They reached a quiet side street. A small building glowed warmly, a cross lit up in the window. A sign read New Hope Church. Vanessa knocked 3 times. The door opened, revealing a man in his 60s, his face kind but lined with weariness. He looked first at Vanessa, then at Nathaniel. His expression shifted instantly. "Pastor Daniel Brooks," Vanessa said, her voice cracking for the first time. "Please." The pastor stepped aside. "Come in," he said. They hurried inside. The church was modest, quiet, and warm. Nathaniel sank into a chair, breathing heavily. Vanessa remained close, alert. Pastor Daniel Brooks locked the door behind them and turned. "Tell me," he said. "What's going on?" Nathaniel's voice rasped. "They're trying to kill me," he said. "Madison and Dylan." Pastor Daniel Brooks turned to Vanessa. "And you rescued him?" Vanessa nodded. "I heard them," she said. "I have proof, but not enough. We have to do this carefully." Nathaniel lifted his head. "We need evidence that holds," he said. "If we don't, they'll twist it and bury her." Pastor Daniel Brooks nodded. "Then we proceed deliberately," he said. "No panic, no noise. We build the truth piece by piece. I have a network we can trust." He guided them to a back room, where a couch and table waited. He offered water and opened a medical kit. Vanessa revealed the small plastic bag of powder she had saved. Pastor Daniel Brooks carefully wrapped it in a fresh cloth and set it aside. "We can have this tested," he said. "A nurse in our congregation works at a clinic. She trusts me. No police yet." Nathaniel looked at Vanessa. "You risked your life for me," he said, "and I treated you as if you didn't matter." Vanessa's eyes glistened, but her voice remained firm. "Life first," she whispered. "Then make it right." Outside, faint wails of sirens echoed in the distance. The church remained calm inside, but the city of Houston was awake. Christmas lights twinkled. Music drifted from distant homes. Cars rolled by. Families laughed, as if no darkness. Nathaniel sat in the back room on a small couch. His fever had gone down, but his body still felt drained. Vanessa stood beside the door, quietly listening to every sound in the hall. Pastor Daniel Brooks opened a small first aid kit and lifted a penlight, shining it briefly into Nathaniel's eyes. "You need a doctor," Pastor Daniel Brooks said. "Not a hospital," Nathaniel answered immediately. "If Madison paid Detective Carter Hayes, a hospital isn't safe." Pastor Daniel Brooks nodded slowly. "Then we call someone we trust," he said. He stepped aside and made one short phone call. His voice stayed low and careful. When he finished, he ended the call and turned toward Vanessa. "Nurse Olivia Carter is on her way," he said. "She works at a clinic nearby. She's discreet." Vanessa glanced toward the small bag of powder sitting on the table. "We also need evidence from the house," she said quietly. "Words won't save you." Nathaniel stared at the plastic bag. "Madison will claim I'm confused," he said. "She'll blame Vanessa." Pastor Daniel Brooks leaned forward in his chair. "Then we give the world proof they cannot ignore," he said. Suddenly, a heavy knock struck the front door of the church. Another knock followed, slower this time. Then a man's voice came through the hall. "Pastor Daniel Brooks, it's Detective Carter Hayes." Nathaniel felt his throat tighten. Vanessa's hand moved instinctively toward the back exit. "But Pastor Daniel." Brooks raised his palm. "Stay," he whispered. "If you run, he will know." Pastor Daniel Brooks walked calmly to the front entrance and opened the door. "Detective," he said politely. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas," Detective Carter Hayes replied, though his voice sounded cold. "I need to look inside." "Why?" Pastor Daniel Brooks asked. "A woman called," Detective Hayes answered. "She said a suspicious man is hiding here. A missing husband." Pastor Daniel Brooks stood firm. "This is a church," he said. "Do you have a warrant?" Detective Hayes gave a tight smile. "Pastor, don't make this difficult," he said. "His wife is worried. The man needs help." Pastor Daniel Brooks spoke slowly and clearly. "A worried wife is not a warrant," he said. "If you want to search the building, bring the proper papers." Silence stretched between them. Detective Hayes leaned a little closer. "If you're hiding him, you're risking your life," he said quietly. Pastor Daniel Brooks didn't move. I know what risk looks like, he replied. Today it's standing on my steps. Detective Hayes stared at him for a moment, then stepped back. This isn't over, he said. Pastor Daniel Brooks shut the door, locked it, and walked back down the hall. He's fishing, he said. Madison sent him. Nathaniel stepped out slowly from behind the wall where he had been, waiting. So she already started the story, Nathaniel said quietly. Vanessa's voice remained low. She'll say you disappeared, she said. Anything that buys her time. A softer knock sounded at the side door. Vanessa moved to the window and peeked through the glass. A woman wearing blue medical scrubs stood outside, holding a small bag. Nurse Olivia Carter, Vanessa whispered. Pastor Daniel Brooks opened the side door and let her inside. Nurse Olivia Carter was young, with calm eyes and steady hands. She immediately went to Nathaniel and began checking his pulse, his temperature, and his breathing. You've been drugged, she said. Not once. Over time. Nathaniel swallowed. Can you prove it, he asked. Nurse Olivia Carter nodded slightly. If I test your blood, she said, and if I analyze that powder. She pricked Nathaniel's finger and collected a small drop of blood. Then, she carefully sealed a tiny portion of the powder inside a vial. I'll take these to my clinic, she said. I can run quick tests. Not perfect, but enough. How long? Nathaniel asked. 2 hours, she replied. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. After she left, Vanessa finally sat down for the first time. Her shoulders slowly dropped. Nathaniel looked at her. You saved me, he said. Vanessa lowered her gaze to the floor. I only did what was right, she replied. Nathaniel's voice broke slightly. I had security guards, cameras, and gates everywhere, he said. Yet I was slowly dying at my own dinner table. Vanessa lifted her eyes. If you survive, she said quietly, use your influence to reveal the truth. Protect the people you usually overlook. Nathaniel nodded slowly. I will, he said, and I'll make sure you're protected too. Pastor Daniel Brooks pulled a notebook from a drawer. Let's write down what we need, he said. Proof of the poison, proof of who administered it, and a safe way to stop them. Nathaniel leaned forward. I installed a backup camera system. He explained. Madison doesn't know about it. It saves recordings to a drive locked inside my office safe, hidden behind a picture frame. Vanessa's expression tightened. Your office is inside the house, she said. Yes, Nathaniel answered. But if we retrieve that drive, it might show her. Mixing the powder. Pastor Daniel Brooks nodded slowly. Then we plan a careful trip, he said. No police yet. Not until we have the evidence. Outside, the sky had grown darker. Christmas evening was approaching the same night Madison had said would be Nathaniel's last. Pastor Daniel Brooks opened a small metal box and removed a set of simple keys. These belonged to the church van. Nothing fancy. No tracking. Vanessa found a jacket and a knit cap and handed them to Nathaniel. Your face is recognizable, she said. Tonight you look like a tired man going to visit family. Nathaniel pulled the cap low and stared into a dusty mirror. He looked smaller, almost ordinary. For some reason, that frightened him more than he expected. He imagined his office again, the safe hidden behind the picture frame, the narrow hallway that creaked near the stairs. He remembered exactly where the cameras stopped recording. Vanessa watched him quietly, then squeezed his hand once. We moved silently, she said, and we stay together. Just then, the phone rang. Nurse Olivia Carter calling. Pastor Daniel Brooks said as he placed the phone on speaker. It's poison, Nurse Olivia Carter said through the phone. It matches the powder sample. Small doses over time. A larger dose could stop his heart. Nathaniel closed his eyes. Vanessa covered her mouth with her hand. Nurse Olivia Carter continued. If they realize he's still alive, they'll act quickly, she said. Don't. Give them time. Pastor Daniel Brooks looked at Nathaniel. We go for the drive tonight, he said. While they still believe their plan is working. Nathaniel stood up. His legs trembled once, then steadied. He looked at Vanessa. We go together, he said. And we come back with the truth. The church van drove through Houston on Christmas night. Pastor Daniel Brooks sat behind the wheel. Vanessa watched the side mirrors. Carefully, Nathaniel remained low in the back seat, cap pulled down, trying to keep his balance. They reached the street near the mansion. Christmas lights glowed through the windows as if nothing in the world was wrong. Pastor Daniel Brooks parked 1 block away. A car slowed near the corner. Its headlights swept across them briefly, Before continuing down the road, Nathaniel felt his breath tighten. Vanessa guided him behind a parked truck until the street fell silent. Again, only then did they step out. Vanessa spoke quietly. No talking. Move quickly. They walked along the side path toward the service gate. Vanessa entered the security code. The gate beeped softly and slid open. Inside, gentle music floated through. The house, the kind meant to relax people. Nathaniel felt sick hearing it. He followed Vanessa through the staff corridor, staying away from the main rooms. They stopped at the corner of the kitchen. Voices echoed from inside. Madison spoke first. "He always comes down for dinner," she said. Dylan answered. "Or maybe he's already downstairs." Vanessa quickly pulled Nathaniel forward again. When they reached Nathaniel's office door, he unlocked it using a small key hidden inside his shoe. Inside the room, his wedding photo hung above the desk. He didn't look at it. Instead, he lifted the frame beside it, revealing the hidden panel. With trembling fingers, he opened the safe. His legs felt weak as he crossed the room. For weeks, he had blamed his illness on stress from work. Now he could almost feel the poison still burning inside him like a slow fire. He opened a drawer. His fingers brushed against a small card. Nathaniel suddenly recognized the small card. Vanessa had once left it on his desk. "Merry Christmas." "Thank you." He had dropped it there carelessly and forgotten all about it. A wave of shame tightened in his throat. Vanessa stood in the doorway, her shoulders straight, eyes sweeping the hallway for any sign of danger. In that moment, Nathaniel understood something clearly. He was still alive because she noticed what he refused to see, and she chose bravery when it mattered most. Nathaniel grabbed the backup drive and pressed it into Vanessa's hand. "If they search me, they'll find it," he whispered. Vanessa slipped the device quickly into her jacket pocket. Suddenly, a floorboard creaked outside the office. They both froze. A key turned in the lock. Vanessa pulled Nathaniel quickly behind the curtain near the window. They stood completely still. The door slowly opened. Dylan stepped inside. Madison followed him, holding a glass filled with green juice. Dylan began checking the desk drawers quickly. "The detective went to the church," he said. The pastor blocked him. Madison's voice sounded tense. "Then Nathaniel is still alive." Dylan's jaw tightened. "Then we finish it tonight at the charity dinner," he said. "Cameras everywhere. We act concerned. We say, he's confused. We get him into a hospital bed." Madison nodded slowly. "Tonight," she said coldly. "No mistakes." She looked around the office again. "Vanessa has been acting strange lately." Dylan scoffed. "Vanessa is nothing." Nathaniel's fists clenched tightly in the darkness. Vanessa remained calm and silent. A moment later, Madison and Dylan left the room. The door closed behind them. Vanessa waited a few seconds, then whispered softly, "Now." They slipped out into the corridor and moved quickly toward the service gate. The church van was already running by the time they reached it. The charity dinner was being held downtown in a large hotel ballroom, decorated for Christmas. They entered quietly through a side staff entrance. Nurse Olivia Carter waited inside with a small laptop. Nathaniel handed her the drive. She connected it to the computer and opened a video file. Footage appeared on the screen. Madison stood in the kitchen measuring a pale powder into a glass. Dylan stood beside her. Madison stirred the drink, smiling slightly before carrying the glass out of the room. Nathaniel felt his throat burn. "That's the proof," he said. Nurse Olivia Carter nodded. "It matches the substance in your blood," she said. Pastor Daniel Brooks spoke firmly. "No local police." Nurse Olivia Carter made a quick call. A short time later, a federal agent arrived. She watched the video twice without speaking. Her face remained serious. "This is attempted murder," she said. Nathaniel pointed toward Vanessa. "She saved my life," he said. "Protect her." The agent nodded once. "We will," she said. "Are you ready to face them?" Nathaniel took one slow breath. "Yes." Agents quietly moved into position around the ballroom. Behind the large curtain, Nathaniel could hear Madison speaking into the microphone, her voice warm and smooth as she wished everyone a Merry Christmas. Vanessa touched Nathaniel's arm. "Stay close," she whispered. Nathaniel stepped out into the ballroom. The room slowly fell silent in waves. Heads turned. Someone accidentally dropped a glass. Madison's smile froze instantly. Dylan stepped backward. Madison quickly came down from the stage with her arms open like a concerned wife. "Nathaniel," she said sweetly, "where have you been?" Nathaniel kept his voice steady. You weren't worried, he said. You were angry that I was still alive. Madison's mouth opened, then closed. At that moment, the federal agent stepped forward. Madison Carter and Dylan Carter, you are under arrest. Handcuffs clicked loudly. Dylan tried slipping into the crowd, but another agent grabbed him. Dylan Carter, you're under arrest. This is a lie, Dylan shouted. Nathaniel turned toward the guests. It's not a lie, he said calmly. They poisoned me. I have the video. Vanessa heard them planning it. She pulled me out before they could finish the job. Phones lifted around the room as people began recording. Madison's eyes flashed with hatred. Then fear as agents led her away. Nathaniel turned toward Vanessa and held her hand where everyone could see. I owe my life to her, he said. She didn't do it for money. She did it because it was the right thing to do. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. Out of habit, she tried to pull her hand away, but Nathaniel held it. Gently. You won't be invisible again, he whispered. Vanessa spoke softly. I only wanted you to live. Nathaniel nodded, tears finally falling from his eyes. The ballroom stayed quiet as Madison and Dylan were taken away. Outside, luxury cars waited along the curb. Nathaniel walked past them and opened the church van door for Vanessa. Come with me, he said. Not to work for me, but to live. Vanessa looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded and climbed into the van. Inside, Nathaniel kept staring at her hands resting in her lap. They were worn from years of work, yet steady. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I treated you like you didn't matter. Vanessa didn't smile. Fix it with what you do next, she said. Pastor Daniel Brooks nodded. Truth comes first, he said. Then healing. The van drove into the night away from the mansion, away from the lies, and toward a life built on truth. Dear viewers, this story is not only about a wealthy man and a housemaid. It is about life, trust, and the kind of courage that appears when you least expect it. Nathaniel Carter had money, power, and a beautiful mansion. Yet none of that could save him when betrayal came from the people closest to him. Vanessa had no wealth, no security guards, and no influence. But she possessed something far stronger: a pure heart, sharp awareness, and the courage to protect a life even when it put her own life in danger. Sometimes the people you overlook are the very ones God sends to rescue you. Sometimes the person you call staff is the only one who will stand when everyone else is smiling while planning your downfall. And sometimes Christmas isn't about gifts. It's about a second chance and the truth that sets you free. Now we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments where you are watching from and share what lesson this story taught you. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this message today. And if you want more emotional stories, comment more stories so you'll be the first to see the next one. Before you go, answer these 3 questions in the comments. 1. If you were Nathaniel, who would you trust when everything started to feel wrong? 2. Do you think Vanessa should stay close to Nathaniel after what happened, or should she move on with her life? 3. What is one lesson this story taught you about loyalty and the people we ignore every day?